a vent, and a door. I get it now. Hi, welcome to the Aventador SVJ Xago.
Always ends the same when it was me and you. But every time I meet somebody new, it's like deja vu. I swear they sound the same. It's like they're on my skin. Every word they say sounds just like him. And it goes like this. We'll get in your car and you'll need to kiss me. We'll talk for hours and lie on the backseat. And then one bright the night when everything changes. You won't reply and we'll go back to strangers. Go back to strangers.
Alright, 2021 Aventador SVJ Xago. The last time I drove an Aventador was ThatDudeinBlue's 50th anniversary. It was Verde Ithaca, absolutely stunning, and it was a roadster, so you saw nothing. You could see literally nothing out of it. So for a first-time exotic driver, it was intimidating. A vent, a door. I get it now. I was also wearing these nifty gloves to keep the steering wheel safe and nice, but today I've been blessed with my own birthday suit, so we're okay. The first thing you notice when you look at the SVJ is that it's a literal spaceship. Gills, the ducts, the big giant vents on the side, you know, a vent and a door. It has all this stuff on it that the original one never did. ThatDudeinBlue had the first gen, so he has seen the entire evolution of this car. Compared to the first gen Aventador, the SVJ is like on a different planet. First impression of the SVJ, the steering is sharper, the braking is even sharper. You have 3 55s in the back and 2 55s in the front. So it is probably the biggest staggered gap I've ever seen in a car. It is obnoxious. The steamrollers in the back and the sharpness in the front. It actually, under first impression, is easier to drive. Yeah, buddy. The different modes. Basically, you have Strata, which is my least favorite, just full transparency. It shifts very slow, but it's supposed to be kind of the chiller mode, but by it being the chiller mode and shifting slower, I think it actually beats you up more. So it's this weird backwards mind game. You get to the good stuff like Sport, and it starts crackling a lot more. That's what I'm just gonna make a little bit of noise. And Lambos, historically, back in the day, were the Widowmakers, right? Like, they didn't handle well, and you're brave to drive that thing. This thing at one point had okay, how do I put this? It's had a Nürburgring record that was sort of controversial. I won't get into it, but I'll basically break it down. There was just some small things with the SVJ that people were like, oh, that doesn't count or whatever. Either way, it still did a 6-minute something Nürburgring time, which is bananas. So these make 770 horsepower, so it is a big jump compared to the original Aventador and even the next versions like the S and the SV, the Super Veloce and all that kind of stuff. The SVJ, surprisingly, there's a good amount of them. I was surprised how many were built with how high tier of a performance this car is. So you still have the single clutch gearbox, so it does have that delay in between shifts until you get to Corsa. Corsa is the mode that is my personal favorite. Also, there's one called Ego mode. So, as if, no offense, ThatDudeinBlue, as if Lamborghini owners needed any more ego, they can literally check their ego by pushing a button. So you push the button and you can individually set your settings. So that's all it is, really, right? You can set your sport suspension or your Corsa exhaust, all that kind of stuff. The last one I drove, it was much easier to like open the hood and see everything. This is, yeah, you need 2 people to take the clamshell off, essentially. The window where the engine is, I can put that down. So now that is down, and I can hear it even more with this V12. The SVJ still uses the 6.5 liter V12, which in many ways is the old school V12 of Lambo. It's pretty much the closest you can get to the old school feeling of the Lamborghini with the V12. Big engine in it, right? Ah! Dude. These brakes are phenomenal. Okay. Crazy. Side note, I'm running out of road every time I do a pull. What's really neat about the Xago is that there's only 10 of them. So there's 5 in North America, 4 in the United States, and they all had very specific color schemes, powertrain, all that kind of stuff, but it's the color of the Italian flag. They love putting the flag on everything, and that's okay. Even the SVJ logo in this, one of one, is the Italian flag color scheme. Also, the door cards, very much more race car, full carbon fiber, and you get a nifty little strap right here. So it helps out when you're reaching, being that person at the car show to get the door back down. This paint job takes hours and hours and hours and hours to do, specifically because of the hexagons. Now, what makes it special to have hexagons on it? Well, one, it's an optical illusion.
Argento Luna is that gray, which is in the paint.
Yeah.
It will look like it's 3D, but if you refocus your eye, the white part can become the part that's 3D.
It's doing, yeah, for me right now, it's doing it.
Then if you look at the door directly, like say if you focus here, it's like in the Matrix, it propagates down the entire door. Here, you stand here and just look, and if you look away, it looks like, you can see it stops there, but as you angle around, it stops here. It stops up here a little bit more. The way they do it, it uses like 4 layers of different paints. At the same time, it's inspired by a storm system on Saturn. So the planet, not the car company. I think what this one does compared to say the first gen, it gives you a lot more confidence. I'll be honest with you. I feel a lot more comfortable in this thing, which even though this is the race car one, I feel more comfortable, I feel more confident. The turn-in is better, the braking is better. I also want to talk about the wing. I absolutely love the wing on any SVJ, even the Xago, and the exhaust coming through the bumper, right? I absolutely adore that. Look, everybody likes the Batmobile, big giant exhaust out the back. I prefer this. This car also has more downforce, right? That's a given. With how much aero and gills and all these things you have. That's a pasta very good. When you're cruising down the highway, you feel stable as can be. There is no this, right? You just float. And you just go and go and go, and it keeps pulling this entire time. Woo! Yeah, this thing cooks, bro. This thing is crazy. Woo! Dude. I don't need it. I think a lot of people, like, when they think of exotic cars, the first things they think of is like high price tag, unrelatability, stuff like that. Like, look, I know, I mostly drive home body tuner cars. When you drive something like this and you feel the engineering of it and you feel how good it is, you finally go, okay, I understand the assignment. Even though the Huracan was great, right? It was small, and the wind would push you around sometimes, right? It would kind of dart back and forth, and I've driven twin-turboed, like, 1,300 horsepower Huracans now.
stable. I think just the wider track width and the longer wheelbase and all that kind of stuff, you just send it and it just goes and goes and goes. And I can definitely see why a lot of people get so comfortable at high speed in these things. They just keep going. So I just did a gas station stop. I just bonked my head on this so hard. Ergonomics. I've taken a corner in a Lamborghini ever. And I feel like I was at 5/10. I could have gone much faster, but not my car. This has 4-way steering. So it just digs in like a Porsche, right? With like a GT2, GT3, how it has the 4-way steering. But I mean, it was proven, right? With all the track time that they R&D'd this car and made the world take Lamborghini more seriously when it comes to track driving, instead of just being a flashy gold chain, right? That's what a lot of people always associate this brand with. But there's just so much more history than that. You know, we all know that it was a middle finger to Ferrari. We all know that it was a tractor company. We all know about all these things. But at the end of the day, it's just cool to see the progression of this company that is so boutique in the middle of a field in Italy. And I've been to the factory. It's just such a laid-back place where they just love building cars. Hexagons are literally everywhere in this car, in the interior, on the mirrors, on the sides. It's a very aggressive, sharp-shaped car, and I love it. And it's also massive. The car itself, to film it in these glamour shots that you're seeing right now, I kept going, oh, I missed that. I missed this. I missed that. And I just kept filming because there's always something new to discover on this thing. Also, the gauge cluster, much more intense, aggressive compared to the OG Aventador gauge cluster. It feels more race car, quote unquote. But it's also very instinctive with, even though it has a pretty high red line for a V12, you don't really need to look down. You kind of get that body sensation of, oh, I shift now. And that's really nice. Also, the V12, weird thing to say, with this transmission and engine combo, since it's so high revving, with so many cylinders, it's a hell of an engine breaker. It gives you a gauge of the sound and the feedback and knowing where you're at in the RPM and knowing your speed. It was probably my most memorable car review day I ever had at the time. Drove the Huracan, then drove the Aventador, and then the next day drove the Porsche 918. At the time, one of the rarest cars somebody could ever drive. But the most common thing that people said in the comment section was, why didn't you get on it enough? Eat my shorts, kick rocks. It is hard to get a car of this caliber speed on camera. But I can tell you today, it's there. And wow, what an incredible experience. I want to thank ThatDudeinBlue so much for letting me literally rip his SVJ into oblivion. And at the same time, did I get the picture of why the SVJ is so freaking capable? Yes, and the Xago is a special, special car. Optical illusions with its paint job that's custom, with the customization factor Lamborghini can put into their cars for their customers. Everything from step one, being built during the pandemic, and now I'm sitting here. Unbelievable journey, unbelievable car, and I could not be more thankful for this, words are hard, and I could not be more thankful for this experience today. And on that note, go subscribe to ThatDudeinBlue. Super cool guy, super fortunate to be able to do this as always, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna get back safely now. Bye.